Hello and welcome to the Ora News broadcast on this Friday afternoon. I'm Daniel Cook, your host for the English edition, which we have Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. In today's news, the Democratic Party chairman, Nurzim Basha, has participated in the assembly elections of the Democratic Party in the town of Durrës. In his speech, Mr. Basha emphasized that violence and crime have invaded the country. Focusing on the threat that was made against the Democratic MP Gent Strazimiri yesterday in Parliament, Basha said that this is an aggression against the freedom of expression and against the interests of Albanians. The Parliament, Basha said, has turned into a shelter for crime. He made this statement: "Violence and crime have occupied the squares and the politics. It began 300 days ago with the destruction of the police. It continued with the collapse of the economy, with the destruction and capture of the institutions, with drug trafficking, violence, and the vulgarity of the Prime Minister, the mafia killings and eliminations of the entrepreneurial elite. The evil has not stopped. The second 300 days of this government began with the political crime of aggression against the opposition in Parliament, an assault on free speech, and aggression against the Albanian interests. Just wait, because you have not seen anything yet," warned the crazy man from the assembly podium, because he knew the destination. He well knew his pathology, hatred, and anger toward the opposition, said Basha. The Democrat Party has shown in these 24 years that we have managed to triumph over evil, Basha said, expressing his confidence that also this time we will manage to stop the threat that is being made to the present and future of the country from the renaissance of evil. Mr. Basha made an appeal to all Albanians to rise up and to stop the evil before it triumphs. He continued, "From the European reality that we wanted, now they want to force Albania into the Oriental Syrian reality. Now is the time to react. Now is the time to put a stop to the evil. And we all should rise up to stop it before the worst prevails. We belong to the European civilization, which cannot be represented to the world by medieval, diseased minds. We must not allow the evil to invade the present, to invade the future, the land of our children. Our mission, and the mission of every patriot, is to restore normality to the Albanians," said Basha. The Democratic Party spokeswoman, Laura Vorpsi, released a statement today about the events that took place in Parliament yesterday. The Democratic Party reacted to yesterday's violence in front of the Parliament, where MP Gent Strazimiri was physically confronted by members of the Socialist Party. In a media statement, the spokeswoman of the Democratic Party, Laura Vorpsi, accused the Prime Minister Edi Rama of ordering the assault, only because the Democratic deputy denounced the government's ties with crime. She said, "Rama ordered Ndoka and Ndreu to hit the deputy Strazimiri, who was threatened with his life. Rama allowed Arben Ndoka to enter the parliament. The Democratic Party wants to know his past and what was his penalty for trafficking," said Vorpsi. According to her, the other socialist deputy, Armando Prenga, is a representative of the world of crime and struck the MP Strazimiri earlier because of the same issue. She continued, "We ask, what is Mr. Prenga's problem? Edi Rama has brought these people to Parliament to punch the opposition MPs who denounce their criminal ties. The Democratic Party is determined to continue the battle, to denounce the government's criminal links and the links of the Rama-Mehta duo," added Vorpsi. The physical conflict in Thursday's session made the Democratic Party decide to boycott the Parliament in protest against the presence of elements that they feel are linked to organized crime. The U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry feels that more ambassadors are needed in the European countries, including Albania. The U.S. Secretary of State, John Kerry, has expressed his concern about the lack of ambassadors in the countries that are involved in the conflict in strategic locations, including our country. According to Kerry, great damage is being caused to the U.S. by the lack of ambassadors. He said, "Without the authority of an ambassador, we cannot deal fully with officials of the highest level in these countries." According to him, the U.S. needs European ambassadors in strategic places such as Hungary, Turkey, the Czech Republic, Moldova, and Albania. He continued, "Some strategic European countries such as Hungary, Turkey, Czech Republic, Moldova, and Albania are without ambassadors. Without the authority of an ambassador, we cannot fully deal with officials of higher levels in countries where common democratic values are being threatened," writes Kerry. He stressed that there are vacancies in 40 countries, and the Senate should accelerate the procedures for their approval. It has been confirmed that the country of Albania will receive an important visit from a high U.S. official. The Assistant Secretary of the U.S. for Europe and Eurasia, Victoria Nuland, will visit Albania tomorrow. Her visit was confirmed by the U.S. Department of State. Nuland will meet with senior representatives of the government and the main political parties in Albania. Her visit will cover various matters of bilateral and regional cooperation, including the Euro-Atlantic integration of our country into the European Union. Her visit to our country will take up a few days of her tour of the Balkans and beyond. The official of the U.S. State Department will visit Kosovo and Serbia on July 13th, where she will discuss the dialogue between the two countries and the implementation of the Brussels Agreement. The first stop will be today in Croatia, where she will participate in the forum of the 9th anniversary of Croatia. She will also deliver a speech on the Western Balkans. Nuland will meet the Croatian government leaders and the leaders of the region that will be in the regional conference on energy security. Visits to Macedonia, Serbia, Belgium, and Great Britain will be discussed during the meeting. Meanwhile, on July 14th, Nuland will travel to Skopje, where she will meet with senior government officials and party leaders. The meetings will include a discussion about the Euro-Atlantic path of the country and other issues of common interest. U.S. Department of State official Victoria Nuland will then continue her travels to London to meet with senior officials of the British government. There she will discuss global issues and preparations for the NATO summit and the recent events in Ukraine. The Economic Committee gathered today to discuss the draft law on the value-added tax system. After yesterday's incident, in which deputies Ndoka and Strazimiri clashed outside the assembly, the opposition has decided not to take part in the discussion. During the discussions, the Minister of Finance, Shkelqim Mcani, stressed that the bill will make an adjustment to the old law. He said, "The basis of this law was passed in April of 1995. The EU directives and interest groups have been consulted. The law is technical, so we have requested the assistance of experts," Mcani said. The Minister of Finance, Shkelqim Mcani, who introduced the draft law, stated that the overall objective of drafting this new law is to ensure compliance with the VAT rules in Albania, with those of member countries of the EU, to prevent any distortion of the competition and not to become an obstacle to the free circulation of goods and services. In this way, they hope to eliminate as much as possible the factors that could distort these conditions. He continued, "This bill, through clear rules that are provided to suit the economic development and market requirements inside and outside the country, This bill aims to provide a unified taxation system with other member states of the European Union, making the Albanian business competitive among the developed countries, and making Albania a country that provides legal and fiscal sustainability and security for foreign investors, Chani said. According to him, the new law aims to ensure legal and fiscal sustainability with well-defined rules, which ensure consistency in the application of the VAT by unifying the Albanian taxation system with that of the member states of the European Union. This draft, through the principle of taxation according to the destination of services, ensures a taxation system that eliminates the double taxation of the VAT on transactions between businesses in Albania and those located in the member countries of the EU. Also, by increasing the capacity and quality offered by this law, the quality of their administration will be ensured. Based on Article 70 of the Stabilization Association Agreement, or SAA, within the first phase, as defined in Section 6 of this agreement, Albania has the obligation to approximate this legislation in the field of indirect taxation, namely the value-added tax. Prime Minister Edi Rama has said that the government's new approach to agriculture is showing the first signs of improvement. At the inauguration of the new offices of the Agency of Agriculture and Rural Development, the Prime Minister mentioned the increase in exports as being a concrete result and accused the previous government of mistreating the villages and the farmers. There has been a 30% increase in agriculture exports in the first 5 months, which probably means something, he said. We have significantly eased the farmer from the extraordinary pressure of corruption, said Rama. The Prime Minister said that the government increased the budget of agriculture by 70% in a difficult year, as he said, when we had to face the mountain of debt inherited from the previous government. EU funds are growing, said Rama, so the government has prepared the legal framework to absorb them. The next challenge remains the formalization and regionalization of agriculture by funding projects for cultures that make up a comparative advantage for a given area. We will not distribute funds without a plan. We will not distribute funds that do not comply with national agriculture development. By performing this task, we will orient the focus of the regions on the most useful cultures, said Rama. Meanwhile, Minister Panariti said that the new plans are designed to promote agricultural production in the country and to fight favoritism. Our approach is oriented toward results, preventing favoritism, which does not encourage production but feeds favoritist networks, said Panariti. The national road heading down from Vlora to the south of the country is in serious need of repair. The national road that connects Vlora to the south is severely damaged in certain segments. The road between Orukum and Logara have been damaged for 2 years, and the recent rains have worsened them even more. The slippage of the concrete supports and the continuous erosion in the area have made the road more dangerous for all vehicles that are headed to the National Park of Logara and to the beaches of the south. Although intervention has been made, they have failed to provide a definitive solution for the situation. This road is of particular importance, since at the peak of the tourist season, tens of thousands of vehicles, including bus lines of Himara and Saranda, travel on this road. The police have found a vehicle outside the city of Lazarat, which appears to have still been trying to transport drugs out of the city. After many days of operation in the drug village of Lazarat to destroy huge amounts of cannabis and other narcotics, the drug trafficking appears to be continuing. A vehicle was found in the surroundings of Lazarat, attempting to transport the narcotics, which allegedly were still hidden in the city. The vehicle's back seats were removed, and inside them, a small amount of marijuana was found. The anti-drug specialists arrested the citizen with the initials DJ from Vlora, who is 23 years old. He is the owner of the vehicle. Meanwhile, the work of the police is continuing to prevent the cultivation and trafficking of narcotic substances. The Foreign Ministry of Macedonia has sent a letter of protest to Tirana and Pristina. The Foreign Ministry said that the letter of protest was sent following the declarations that were issued by the officials of Albania and Kosovo in relation to the violent protests that have been held in Macedonia. The protests were against the sentencing to life in prison of 6 Albanians as the penalty for the murder of 5 Macedonians 2 years ago in the suburbs of Skopje. The Foreign Ministry has expressed its concern to the ambassadors of Albania and Kosovo, saying that these interpretations cast doubt on the functioning of the judicial system, and that the declaration issued by senior political officials are not at all in favor of good neighborly relations. The letter reads, "This is a ruling issued by the judicial system, which is an independent system. Such declarations can be interpreted as meddling in the internal affairs of the Republic, and they do not strengthen the mutual trust and good neighborly relations, which are principles that Macedonia tries to apply. Political assessments cannot contribute to the relations between the countries," reads the statement. Concern was also expressed for the burning of the Macedonian flag in the protest that was held this week in Pristina. The ambassador of Kosovo, Ylber Husa, declared that he condemns the burning of the flag of Macedonia in front of the embassy of this country in Pristina. He expressed his conviction that the authorities of Kosovo will take measures to punish the authors of this act of vandalism. Skopje's reaction followed the declaration of the Albanian Prime Minister, Edi Rama, about the development of tension in Macedonia and the reaction of the government of Kosovo. Albania's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has responded to the issue of violent protests in Skopje. A day after the letter of protest that the Macedonians sent to Albania and Kosovo, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs has called the Macedonian ambassador to Tirana to communicate to him that the verbal note is an attempt to remove the attention from the real issue. The ambassador was told that the violence in the protests does not help in resolving the issue, but rather damages the interethnic harmony among the communities. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that the official position of Tirana is in line with the internationals and cannot be regarded as interference with the internal affairs of Macedonia. The statement read, "We believe that the reasons for these situations should be looked for within Macedonia and not in the failure to implement the Ohrid Agreement. Every effort to seek other reasons or factors outside of Macedonia will be counterproductive." The notice stated that the Albanians are a state-building factor with an important role in the stability of Macedonia and the region. The recent protest in Macedonia was conducted without violence or incidents. In Skopje, the protest held by ethnic Albanians has come to an end. The ethnic Albanians were campaigning under the slogan, "Stop discrimination and politically orchestrated trials against Albanians." The protest started in the district of Ker in Skopje, an area predominantly inhabited by Albanians. The protesters then continued their march near the court. However, the police did not allow the protesters to pass to the other side of the city. The protest took place without incidents, and protesters stopped near the commercial center in the boulevard of Bit Pazar, where many police forces were stationed. The police forces stopped the protesters and did not allow them to march any further. The protesters obeyed, and incidents were avoided. But a few minutes later, they began to call out slogans such as "Stop Discrimination," NLA, "We Want Freedom," "Jan Kulovska is a terrorist," "Stop Selective Justice Against Albanians," and "We Want an Ethnic Albania." After this, the protest ended. Present in this protest were some prominent personalities of different associations and organizations, including the mayor of Struga, Zaidan Sela, the European boxing champion, Nuri Seferi, the politician, Husni Sachiri, and other public personalities. In several cases, the protesters attempted to break through the police barrier, but they were not allowed by the protest organizers. At the end of the protest, Daim Lutsi read a letter of protest on behalf of the family members, in which he demanded the immediate release of the 6 Albanians who were sentenced to life imprisonment for the killing of 5 Macedonians in April 2012 in the suburbs of Skopje. The protesters demanded the resignation of the Minister of Interior, Gordan Janukolovska, and the prosecutor of the case, Gordana Gesovska. Meanwhile, on the other side, the protest that was warned by the Macedonian young people was canceled. Young Macedonians had called for a protest under the motto, "Macedonia belongs to the Macedonians." Extra police forces continued to be present in the capital of Skopje. Extra police support has been established in Skopje, and the internationals have appealed for peaceful protests. This morning, Skopje awoke under tension and the added presence of police forces, following the protests by Albanians on one side and Macedonians on the other. The Albanians are holding protests with the slogan, "Stop Discrimination and Selective Trials Against Albanians," and they are being egged on by a court ruling which gave life prison sentences to 6 Albanians accused of murdering 5 Macedonians 2 years ago in the suburbs of Skopje. But the Macedonian protesters, who mainly consist of football fans, have held protests with the slogan, "Macedonia belongs to Macedonians." They demanded that the decision of the institutions be upheld. The police special units are present in the main roads of the capital and also in the central area where the protest is expected to be held. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all the news for this evening. Thank you for watching. Please join us again tomorrow at 6 p.m. for more Albanian news in English. Thank you and good night.